God bless America. Hello, everybody. I am the Talk Radio Protege. This is the Protege program. Thank you for joining me. Welcome back from the weekend. I hope that you all had a good one. I know that I did, and I'm already looking forward to the next one. I'm planning on putting a lot on my plate for this coming weekend, but until then, we've got news to talk about. And I'm sure that you all knew over the weekend that the government was shut down as of midnight on Friday. Actually, the opposite is true. I'm sure that if you didn't know the government was shut down, that you didn't notice when it did. No one died, no welfare checks bounced. Everything went on as if nothing at all had happened. The only thing that I'm sure was different from business as usual were all the conference calls that were held in government offices across the nation as they discussed whether or not their employees were going to be furloughed. But this, right around lunchtime today, a proposal, I guess would be the right word, was put forward by Senate Majority Leader McConnell, who said, look, let's just do a clean continuing resolution, and then let's have an immigration debate all month for the month of February, which means that we're going to have this debate again on as soon as this continuing resolution runs out, which is on February the 8th. But basically, the Democrats folded. They had successfully got the government shut down. The pressure was on. There was going to be people calling the president, calling their representatives, telling them to get this shutdown over with. But instead, Schumer relented. Schumer gave up on the shutdown. And in fact, the hashtag Schumer shutdown is sticking. And I haven't seen a lot of evidence, but I've heard from a couple of the different places that I look to get news that the left is very upset with their representatives. Apparently, some people are saying that they punted, that they gave up too early, that they should have held on and should have forced this shutdown over the DACA participants. Other than that, however, the left certainly hasn't lost the opportunity to obtain amnesty for these individuals. This is not going to be the last time we talk about this. It's not going to be the last time that Republicans will have to hold the line on making sure that we don't just blanketly bring in these illegal immigrants into the American legal system. Should both sides hold the lines, we're likely going to see another shutdown in February. Like I say, there is nothing that happened to stop this shutdown that means the Democrats can't force another one later on. Now, I want to talk for a few minutes. I think this is going to be a pretty short video. It was a short shutdown. Not a lot of debate that went on, so I think it's okay to do a short video about this. But I want to spend some time talking about who the quote-unquote hostages were in this situation. Now, every time a government shutdown comes up, people start saying, well, you're holding this group hostage, and you're holding this group hostage, and you're holding this group hostage. And rather than say, the hostage language is ridiculous, we need to stop and we need to do something else, we need to have a different way to talk about this shutdown, because saying that you're holding somebody hostage is just not the right way to do it. Rather than say that, which I don't think is necessarily the case, I would like to embrace the usage of the word hostage. If both sides are going to be throwing the word around, let's just make the accusations stick. Because why shouldn't we? Especially in this case. Because in this case, the rhetoric went like this. The Democrats accused Republicans of holding the DACA participants hostage. Great. Fine. I'm thrilled if you would like to if you'd like to put it this way. Because who are the DACA participants? They're not who the Democrats say they are. The DACA participants, by and large, are not, in fact, children who were born here. They're not. It's not a bunch of 6 to 12-year-olds who have no idea what the country that their parents are from looks like. And the fact of the matter is that we're using the DACA participants as a hook, as an anchor, in other words, for the families that are sure to be deported. You know, the big thing, and I'm sure that we could do another video about this, is just talking about the reason why we can't just amnestize the DACA participants. Because of chain migration, it's incredibly dangerous to amnestize the DACA participants, because then all of their families get to jump to the front of the line, and their families effectively become amnestized, or effectively get amnesty because they get to jump the line of the immigration process. That's one thing that's dangerous about this. The other thing is, it was Obama's policy. DACA is Obama's policy. Therefore, it's Obama that is responsible for the breaking up of these families. Any family that's broken up because a child is a DACA participant and the family is not eligible for those quote-unquote protections, that's Obama's fault. It's Obama that's breaking up those families. It's one thing to say it's that we shouldn't deport these people because their home countries are terrible dumpster fires. It's another thing to say, how dare you split this family up, when it's Obama's policy that's splitting these families up. It's Obama's policy that meant the children got to stay, but the adults must be deported. That's Obama's policy. Just let that sink in. It's Obama that's breaking up families. Trump's just enforcing the rules when he allegedly breaks up these illegal immigrant families. Now, I got a little hung up on that point, but nevertheless, the Democrats' rhetoric were that the Republicans were holding the DACA participants hostage, which I'm fine with, because these are illegal immigrants. These are non-citizens. I hope that this rhetoric gets branded in the minds of the Democrat voters, that your representatives that you voted for care more about non-citizens than they do about you. And I know that this isn't going to bother the rabid open borders voters, but I hope that it would stick in the minds of some moderates that the Democrats care more about non-citizens than they do about you. If you're willing to accept that, then you're probably lost on the immigration issue. Hopefully something could red pill you, for lack of a better word, in the future. But as long as you're able to be okay with that, I don't see what could convince you. So the Republicans were holding the DACA participants hostage. Fine. Who are the Democrats holding hostage? Well, seeing as how this was a government shutdown over the immigration issue, over the DACA participants, I don't see why it would not be fair to say, well, the Democrats were holding the entire government hostage over people that the United States government has no jurisdiction, over people that the United States government looks upon as criminals because they have broken the law. The Democrats say how it's so horrible to treat the DACA participants and illegal immigrants like criminals, but that's the reality of the situation, that they have broken the law. The law can be unjust, and that's fine, but it's still the law, and it still must be followed. It's still the law, and it still must be followed. They're still criminals. Their humanity does not make them illegal, but their residence in this country is illegal. That doesn't mean they are illegal as humans, but it does mean that a part of their life is illegal. We have no problem saying that a murderer is a criminal. That he has done something that means that part of his life is illegal. He must be punished for that part of his life. He's no less human for committing a crime, but he is now illegal. Same thing with the immigrants. They're no less human because they immigrated to this country legally, but they are now criminals and must be held responsible for those actions. Again, getting off in the weeds. The Democrats held the military, the welfare industry, all other branches of government hostage over people who don't have constitutional protections, over people that are not supposed to be in this country in the first place, over people that hold the empathy of the American people hostage in order to suck the life out of the American government through their leeching off of the welfare system, through their totally capturing of the Democrats' policy decisions. These are the kind of people that the Democrats held the federal government hostage over. The kind of people that have, in at least one aspect of their lives, total disregard for the law and the Constitution over. Just let that sink in. The next time you decide to vote Democrat, think about the kind of people that the Democrat prioritize over the federal government, over the funding of critical government activities. Mind you, they were offered 3 different deals where they got everything that they wanted, and all that Republicans were asking for, terrible deal making by the way, but all that Republicans were asking for was a token on border control. The Republicans were going to give away the farm on immigration in order to get a token measure of border security. And the Democrats still said no. I think this just goes to show you that their mindset going into this was that they were going to win on the shutdown. And it only took Saturday and Sunday, days where people are not paying attention to the news nearly as much as they are the rest of the week, and Monday morning, where I would suspect that people are still not paying as much attention to the news as they are the entire rest of the week. It only took Saturday, Sunday, and half of Monday before Chuck Schumer and the Democrat leadership realized we're not getting what we want. At least in the Senate, they realized that. Nancy Pelosi still said that Schumer made a stupid move shortly after this deal was struck. But they were obviously not getting what they wanted. And if this is the case, if it is the case that the Democrats can't get away with shutting down the government over the DACA participants, then I believe we may have a fighting chance of not just straight up amnestizing all of the illegal immigrants that are currently in this country. We may stand a chance of deporting a good number of the millions upon millions of illegal immigrants that have flooded into this country. Now, it's something of a separate issue, but it happens in the same conversation as amnesty. Border crossings surged in recent months. It was after Donald Trump said he was going to stop the DACA program that we started talking about those participants. We had to start talking about what we were going to do. And anytime you talk about doing something about illegal immigrants, half of the country is okay with amnesty. And when half of the country, and thereby all of their representatives, begin talking about amnesty, we start seeing border crossings go up. Anytime amnesty is on the table, border crossings are going to go up, because amnesty, just the way that it is implemented is usually everybody that was in the country before the day we signed the amnesty bill is amnestized. And we have people flock into the country trying to get there, trying to get a hold of that amnesty. which is why we must take amnesty off the table, which is why Republicans must take amnesty off the table. As long as we keep doing amnesty, illegal immigration is going to continue. If we were ever to say, yes, Jeb, yes, Democrats, we are, in fact, going to deport 11 million people from this country, illegal immigration would all but stop. If we one time would say no amnesty, people would self-deport. The government wouldn't have to spend trillions of dollars to deport 11 million people, because the threat of going to prison, because we're not going to do amnesty, would be such that people would decide, okay, I'm not willing to put up with that, I'm going to leave. I myself have my own plans, my own ways in which I would deal with the problem. But if all we did was say, no, we're not going to do amnesty, the 11 million people that are here illegally will have to leave the country at some point. The illegal immigration would just stop. At least that's my theory. Let me know what you think would happen down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications so that you don't miss future videos. We're going to be doing similar analysis on issues like this one as the week progresses. I'm sure the news cycle is not going to slow down. There will be issues to follow up on, to keep track of. We still have the Las Vegas shooting that hasn't been fully resolved. Every once in a while, I'll see a little something on the Drudge Report. Somebody's making a rumbling about how we haven't got the answers that we deserve, that maybe they're on the verge of revealing some of those. That'll definitely be something to talk about if the time comes that those issues are brought to the front. If you're interested in seeing this kind of coverage of those issues, make sure that you don't leave before subscribing. Until next time, though, have a good evening, good night, and God bless.